Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wrestling fans. This is John Hoppe. You're listening to the Wrestling Fans Incite, and I am joined as usual by my co-host William. How are you, my friend?
I'm alive.
My friend, my brother from the same mother. So we had a couple interesting weeks these last few weeks, I guess. Got some good hunting in. Sorry we've been away. We had some much needed vacation time, but overall, you and I had a great experience last week. Um,
We did.
Overall, do you feel pretty refreshed after a couple of days going out?
I do, but I need another vacation, which is coming at the end of this month.
Oh,
So,
yeah, awesome. It was originally due to be the combination of SmackDown and Saturday night's main event.
right, I can't
Uh,
cancel. I can't cancel out my hotel, so I got to go to Salt Lake.
no, we'll have to plan something for that weekend. Um, Who knows? Maybe the ticket prices will get lowered to where we can afford something, but I doubt it.
I
But
freaking doubt it with the John Cena farewell tour.
yeah, I mean that's going to be pretty tough, and the way ticket prices are increasing across the board, not just wrestling, but just all sporting events. It's getting kind of crazy out there. Um, but I kind of want to actually. Originally, we were going to start with the Wrestle Dream and the Saturday tailgate brawl results, but when we actually get into uh, the funner part of the project as far as price increases, since we're talking about it. A lot of speculation lately has been Chris Jericho's whereabouts, and it's been reported by multiple sources. And just before we get too far into the subject, remember, folks, our disclaimer: not everything we are reporting is completely accurate, just only what we know as wrestling fans. So please do not take this as wrestling experts or inside knowledge, just to cover our own asses here. But yeah, the question is Chris Jericho possibly heading to WWE? We haven't seen him in AEW for quite some time. And the funny part is, as you and I have been uh, the most recent alumni on the Chris Jericho cruise, I kind of find it funny now that we're getting to that part time of the year where finally things are getting announced as far as prices, lineups, early lineups. The lineups can still change day to day up until the last week, and it's kind of interesting because last year Sarah and I paid roughly about, I think, just shy of 1,200 a person. This year for our same cabin and everything, it's just shy of 1,700 per person, and that's quite the
Good,
increase.
good Lord, I had the good cabin.
Yeah, and you ended up paying what, 2,500 or something by yourself?
It definitely was double because of the cabin. So r- with the drink package, I paid about 2,700.
Yeah, so my guess is probably that same exact thing for you this year would be pretty close to the 3,500 range, and that's quite an increase. And I think some of that is just possibly due to the fact that many people have pointed out there isn't any AEW names except for there's only one thing to put that kibosh. Lacey Lane, who recently just joined Ring of Honor and AEW, who is now signed to them, formerly known as Caden Carter in the WWE and NXT. She's actually a part of that lineup now. Just kind of
Oh
forewarn you,
man.
just to kind of forewarn everyone. This isn't necessarily a ship that's dedicated to one brand, but many times the ship has pretty much catered to one or multiple brands. In years past, the last few years, it's been mostly AEW, TNA, Rev Pro, just about any indie talent out there. This year, you see mostly a lot of the TNA talent, a lot of former WWE talent, some WWE current legends are in the lineup. So I think with the price with quite the price increase. You're looking anywhere from an average of $500 to $800 per person. I think this pretty much tells us the story that you're going to start seeing a lot more WWE, maybe NXT names come aboard the ship in that lineup. Um, but wouldn't you say this is kind of a good indication where Chris Jericho's heading here after 2025?
It is. I've kind of waited to see what he was going to do. He definitely deserves his flowers as far as being considered legendary with the WWE. He did a lot. He has always done a lot behind the scenes. So it would be his rightful place to do it. I'm just kind of annoyed because I can't afford this cruise this time.
And that's the point I made in our group chat with Carlos and the gang and the Fans of Pro Wrestling group chat. By the way, you can join us there on the X app. Just give me a holler at WFI Pod and see how you can join the group chat. But yeah, that was the biggest thing that hurt me. If it wasn't the fact that, like most any other person in this country that's in a overwhelming debt, I would have been on this cruise right away. I mean, it would have been a no brainer. But right now, I just got so much bills to pay. It's just
It's
there's
too much.
yeah, there's a point where you can make ends meet, but this one you definitely cannot make the ends meet on as far as my situation. But this is not a way of us endorsing to boycott the Jericho cruise. I'm telling you,
No, no. If you can afford it, you need to
yeah,
go.
yeah. I mean, like we mentioned on our episode of the of our of our Chris Jericho cruise experience earlier this year. I really recommend any wrestling fan, if you can spare the money to go on it, definitely go on it. It is well worth the experience. You're not going to be disappointed. There's always meet and greets, photo ops with legends. There's comedy, wrestling shows, anywhere from 1 to 2 wrestling shows every day,
And
night.
figure out how to place your knee and your elbow when you go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes the rooms are not so roomy, but no, I really encourage anyone who has even given the thought to go on a Chris Jericho cruise, definitely go on it. Don't
It's
boycott
worth
it.
it.
If you
It's
can,
worth it.
like us, it got to the point where if we can't make it meet, then we'll try again for the next one or the one after in hopes he's still doing it. And I'm sure he will. Chris Jericho's really done an amazing job with his Chris Jericho cruises. So
I don't think he's going to stop doing it. It's a different event.
it is. I mean, it gives you a chance to watch other talent that you're not normally exposed to. And, you just have a grand old time, especially with other wrestling fans, just share the fandom. Everybody loves pro wrestling. I mean,
The
there's not
bananas showed up.
the bananas. Well, I love the group that came out as the right to censor that just really got the boat going on that. So, but yeah, I think right now, like you said, Will, Chris Jericho definitely deserves his Hall of Fame flowers. And if this is the pretty much a stipulation of him coming back, I'm all for it. I know not too many people would be happy with it, mainly the tribalist, but you know what? He's earned it. Let's have the man get his legacy. So, do you have any final thoughts on that?
I really don't. Uh, just if anybody's got any negativity towards it, just drop it. Like he's been around for a long time and he's done a lot. He really has done a lot for everybody behind the scenes.
He has, and I think he sometimes just gets too much hate for what he's done. A lot of people got tired of him, but you know what? Good Lord, it happens just about with anyone and everyone who wants to make sure they make their mark. But uh, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get into? We'll start off with the AEW's tailgate brawl that happened just before the WrestleDream pay per view event. And we started off with the 8-man tag. The Death Riders ends up defeating the conglomeration. I thought it was pretty much the right call. Death Riders now gaining Daniel Garcia as part of their faction. I
They're
think it was,
definitely they're definitely building something different. It's becoming big.
and
It's almost reminiscent of the legacy.
we'll get into that when we get to the main event of WrestleDream, because I think like you mentioned, they're building up to something, but I want to wait till again we get through the main event part on that. For the second match of the tailgate brawl, we see the returning Eddie Kingston and Hook make a team, defeating the frat houses Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. And it sounds like we've got a possibility of Eddie Kingston and Hook now getting in the tag team ranks, setting their goal to become the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Your thoughts on that?
This one I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I love Eddie. I've always loved Eddie, but since he's come back, you can tell he's moving a lot slower. I think he's kind of coming towards the end. Uh, so I don't know that it's well placed. I'd be happy to see him have another championship, but honestly, I just I don't see it being all that worthy.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Um, I think a lot of him being slow is also just due to the fact he's been out so long from his recent injury and recovery from surgery. So time will only tell. I mean, maybe we're just seeing him kind of start working the oil back in the joints and everything, but who knows?
I
May get.
hope he picks it up.
I'm sure it will come in due time. The third match, women's tag team bout, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale defeats the team of Penelope Ford and Megan Bain. And I was a little surprised on this one because I would almost say the way they booked Megan Bain when she first started, she was going to be pretty much a dominant force, and she was.
She she,
She was
she
up
should have
until
been champion already.
yeah, she was pretty. She was booked really well up until the championship match with Tony Storm, and I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe something's a little lost with her.
I
I
think
don't
they
know,
kind of pooped on her.
and I really hope they didn't. I mean, I hope they do have something planned for her, but I'm not so sure that. And this is in no way taking anything away from Penelope Ford, because I think Penelope Ford can be a decent talent, but I I I almost kind of think maybe Megan Bain needs to be on her own. What would you say about that?
I completely agree with you. She's not being booked properly. She's an amazing talent. She came in strong, and then they just kind of dropped the ball. They need to pick it back up because she's money.
Yeah, and and with the talks of Camilla maybe coming back here in the next few months, I think there could be a good battle of the Amazon women here if that does happen. So I would like to see one of those two make a dominant force here in AEW women's division. But yeah, I congrats to Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale for getting that victory though. Love the fact that they let Willow Nightingale get the pin on Penelope Ford. So uh,
Well, and that's another one that's kind of chapped my ass is how they've really kind of just ignored Harley.
well, in fairness though, Harley's still a little green in the ring, but
She is,
she gets
but
but she does definitely get a lot better than she's been definitely getting better every time she steps in there, and the
she
fans are
is.
behind her.
Oh yeah, everybody loves her. She does a great job. She's great for PR. Like, how much more do you want out of her?
Right. So now moving on, this is kind of the interesting thing between transitioning from the tailgate brawl into the Wrestle Dream pay per view. It started in the tailgate brawl, but FTR defeats Jet Speed after it transitioned into the WrestleDream pay-per-view. And I kind of had some mixed feelings. One, I thought it was a brilliant strategy on Tony Khan's part to have it start there on the free part. But if you wanted to see the ending, you had to get the pay-per-view to watch it. Um, I don't know if that could have been. I think that's actually the first time we've ever seen that happen with any pay-per-view having a pre-show. The only thing I would have done different though is I would have, well, I don't know if I would have done anything different. He had it on his on the TBS, and then you would have to go to the pay-per-view channel. But that's kind of a little rough to do that you if you have to rely on one TV to go from your free channel. Well, I shouldn't say free, but your streaming channel or cable channel straight to the pay-per-view channel, because there's a little bit of time lost right there. But I get the strategy he was doing. What do you think of that?
So I agree with the result of the match. The strategy is actually kind of brilliant because it just kind of gives that segue to get people more involved, to get them so much more buried in into what's going on. It gets them to maybe consider buying the pay-per-views. So it's a smart choice on his match. I thought the match itself was the dud of the night.
All right. Yeah, I felt like said I thought it was the right call to have FTR defeat him. Um, the way they marketed this match to go from the free show to the paid show, never. I don't like I said. I don't think we've ever seen that done before. And I hope it kind of helped AEW in a way with the pay-per-view buys. I don't know if it did or not, but we'll see how that works out in the end result when we finally get the more advanced statistics. But anyhow, before we go on, I want to kind of give a rundown of our shout outs to our team out here. Well, as you see this will be streaming live on X, but we are actually not live on X, if that makes sense. We recorded this earlier today as I will be at a Utah Mammoth game as we're hosting the Boston Bruins. So, but yeah, if you're seeing this, it's streaming live on my X account at WFI Pod and on our YouTube channel at Wrestling Fans Incite. Be sure to go follow us on X again at WFI Pod for me. I also administer the Fans of Pro Wrestling Network at FOPW Network. William.
At William Hoppe 8.
And you see our teammate Brian Adkins X handle. It's the Brian Adkins. Be sure to go follow Brian the Hype Ballard. Check out and participate in our X community, the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Like I mentioned earlier, check it out under the Fans of Pro Wrestling Network profile at FLPW Network. And be sure to follow Brian on his YouTube channel at Tap Out Talk. And also our buddy Carlos. He hosts Raw Reactions with Carlos on Mondays shortly after Raw, as well as Wednesday Night Chaos shortly after AEW Dynamite every Wednesday. Go check him out on the X app at C to the LOS 77 or his nonprofit at Conquer the No. Be sure to go visit his page and find out when those spaces are actually happening. Be sure to go join in and participate. Get your voice heard. Be a wrestling fan. Have fun with it. And again, we also have our group chat on the X, the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Just get with me, Carlos or Brian, on how to join. And whoops, that one kind of slipped. But William, let's start getting right into the WrestleDream pay-per-view. This was pretty
Okay.
much a very fun pay-per-view card. And the official match was should have started off. We see Jamie Hayter getting the pinfall victory over Tekla. Your thoughts?
So ever since Hater came back, it's obvious that they are pushing her. So this call was a good call. Putting the victory over Tekla, who is also a rising star. It was a good match. It was very physical, and they made the right call with it. It just played well.
Well, and she was the reason why Jamie Hayter went out for a little bit, but then Jamie Hayter got her return. She showed it in dominant fashion. And definitely, it's not over between these two. It looks like we will probably see these two still feuding for a little bit longer here.
And the good thing about that is it's going to continue to push Tekla further.
Yes, because Tekla is very, very gifted in the ring. She can definitely hang with just about any women talent in the squared circle, and I think she's got a big promise here. I don't think just in AEW, but if she can somehow make it in WWE as well, I
She
think
she she has the potential to be on the same level as the Kerr.
yes, she does. All right, for the second match of the night, the $500,000 tag team match. Jurassic Express defeats the Young Bucks, and I have to say one of the favorite things I loved about this is especially for the intro for the Young Bucks. It showed the last time they were in the some money match, they pretty much spent all but like 32 or $36. So I just sat there and made a nice little tweet saying, "Oh, well, at least they had enough to get an Uber to get themselves down the aisle to the ring." So, but no, I thought this match overall, it was very well done. I know there's not very many Bucks fans out there, but you have to give them kudos on this. This was a very well done match between the four gentlemen. Jurassic Express never having a win over the Bucks. Now they finally get it. Good redemption. Good way of showing that Jack Perry, got his revenge when the Bucks kind of neglected him when he needed him the most, and it eventually pays off. The only thing, at the end of the match, we see Don Callis family come attack Jurassic Express, and of course, Kenny Omega comes in for the save. I almost thought maybe we were going to see a Bucks face turn join Kenny, but that didn't happen. However, I think we're getting to a point we may be seeing the Young Bucks turn face again. Your thoughts?
They're definitely going to turn face. Okay, so about this match. You mentioned there may not be that many people that love the Bucks. I love the Bucks. They have been a phenomenal team. If any question anybody had was whether it was worth it to bring Jurassic Express back, and I think this redeemed them because this has just become my favorite tag team match of all time. It was well done. It went for a long while, which typically I don't like to see long tag team matches, but they did an excellent job with this. It was just extremely entertaining.
I don't think they could have done any better job with this match. I thought again it was well executed. Fans were into this from start to finish.
And
Uh,
you're seeing Jack Perry actually have fun. Like,
yeah,
seriously.
yeah,
He's enjoying it.
he's having fun. You see him winking in the camera. I'm not sure who it's to, but you know he's having a grand old time. I hope he's finally got that cloud from the whole backstage fight from years ago past him. Um, it's just I think he kind of got riddled with bad luck with the whole CM Punk deal in the back, and I think everybody's starting to see maybe it wasn't so much anything he's done, but it is what it is in the past, and this is the Jack Perry I love seeing. So, and I hope he continues to keep having fun. But let's move on to the number one contenders match for the trio AEW trios title. It was a tornado match. The Hurt Syndicate, they get the victory over the Demand. Wow. Yeah. As we went through some of the dirt sheets ratings on this, there wasn't very nice reviews on this. And I have to say, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. I did it
I
get enough time? I don't think so, but it definitely
yeah.
got the point across.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of any of the ratings that anybody gave over this card because this card ended up being really good. Like I'm happy that I actually purchased this. And I'm still watching it now. As far as the trios go, this couldn't have gone any better. This is exactly where the Hurt Syndicate needed to go. Seeing MVP back in the ring, awesome.
Well, it also made me wonder how this is going to work out when it came time if the Hurt Syndicate challenges the Ops. But we find that out after the world title match, anyways. For those of you who haven't watched it yet, and by the way, you can watch this on HBO Max app. You just got to go and pay the $40 for it. Really not a bad deal for a pay per view, especially when it's all coming from the same streaming channel. I definitely recommend you get this if you haven't watched yet. Going on to the TNT Championship, Kyle Fletcher retains over Mark Briscoe. Why don't we get your thoughts on this first?
It's a killer match. Like they did so well. You've got the young versus the old. Kyle Fletcher is a force. He's coming. There's not stopping him right now. He's just a star. When they call him the proto star, he really is. And this match couldn't have played better. It just worked out so well.
And I really loved the ending, even though we had that low blow from Kyle Fletcher that would have normally ended any match. Mark Briscoe kept going, but damn, Kyle Fletcher pretty much had to damn near kill Mark Briscoe to get that victory.
And he played the whole thing so well. Like for being a young talent, he really, really built this match up.
And, just like most other people, I think Kyle Fletcher is a future world champion. Um, Hopefully in due time, though, make sure we tell the story correctly and time it. But yeah, it was just over well done match. I thought it deserved a better grade than what everybody else was giving it. But to your point, a lot of the reviewers were not very awesome with this card, and I think maybe the only part of it is maybe the card went a little too long for him because
It
it's
was only 4 hours.
now most of these guys it's past their bedtime though. In fairness, on the East Coast, but um,
Correct. But if they had spent the amount of time that we spent the last time we went to an AEW live event, I
yeah,
mean, geez, that was what, 6, 7 hours?
yeah, it was pretty brutal because of the taping for Ring of Honor and everything. But anyhow, for the women's world championship, Chris Statlander retains over Timeless Tony Storm. This probably was the only match I would say may have been graded fairly. Not saying that there was anything bad about it. I thought it was great that Tony gave Chris her flowers after the fact. Um, I just thought it was interesting though. Just shortly after Chris Statlander gets the victory over Tony Storm, uh, Mercedes Monet comes in and kicks out the world champion out of the wrestling ring. I'm like, okay, I do have one beef with that. This is your world champion you're kicking out of the ring compared to the mid card champion. But, we'll talk about that toward the end of the next match. Again, I thought both ladies performed really well. Um, I do like the fact that Chris got the victory over Timeless Tony Storm. And hopefully we're now into the era of Chris Statlander, who's been with the company since day one. Did you want to add anything to that?
Give me a second. Give me a second. I got a train going by.
Okay, well, Will's got a train going by. Again, would love to do some early shout outs here be, as I normally do them at the end of the show, but I want to give a shout out to our fellow friends podcast, Fan in the Van, the Steel and Teal Pod, Average Joe Sports Talk Network, Brutally Honest Sports, Two Dudes Sports News, Nate's Daily Wager, and In a Pickle Radio. Be sure to go give them a follow on the X app, or be sure to go follow their channels where they stream on. Uh, be sure to go give them a listen. They all do some great content, various different sports right there being covered. And William, going back to you,
Good Lord, that's a long train. It's still going.
it's still going. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
um. Okay. Back to the Chris Statlander Tony Storm match. I kind of feel like it was more so them just trying to validate, but I don't think that the match was necessary. They showed their respect towards each other long ago. It is Chris Statlander's time. It's long overdue. I just don't think that this match was necessary. It was a good match, but like you said, bleh.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't to crap on Tony or Chris. It was a good match.
No.
I just don't know
And
if it really did anything for us because it was a one-on-one match. But
right. And
the thing,
to your point, Mercedes coming in, you know how I feel about Mercedes.
yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a sec. The only thing that just was weird was saying they were never one-on-one, but Chris pinned Tony. So Chris pinned Tony for that title. So it was just,
She's pinned her a lot.
yeah, I just don't understand what the what we needed another uh match for that. So before I keep stumbling on any more words, why don't we move on? The AEW TBS Championship Open Challenge. Mercedes Moné flat out challenge any champion out there to put their title on the line for her TBS championship. And this one kind of got mixed reviews too. It ended up being Mina Shirakawa, the current Ring of Honor, well, no longer current, former Ring of Honor interim women's television champion. Unfortunately, Mercedes Moné now becomes the 11 belts Moné, now surpassing the most titles held by one professional wrestler, the Ultimate Dragon. Um, yeah. Why don't we get your thoughts so that we have a fresh piece here?
Okay. You already know where I'm going with this. I'm absolutely pissed off about this. Look, I'm sick and tired of Mercedes getting her ass kissed. Like, she's not that fucking good. She really isn't. Having her hold another title, giving her those kind of flowers when she really doesn't do that much, it irritates me. Mina Shirakawa is a far better talent. And so this match didn't play well with me. It's just irritating.
And I think this is where you and I will have different thoughts. I get I get why they would have her be the belt collector gimmick, and I'm not opposed to that. But if you're gonna go with a gimmick like that, we need to elevate those other championships too. You know, I just don't get why you would go this route. And if I really hope they're not including the Owen Hart Championship, the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, because even though that is a championship, it's not really a championship that's defended either. So I don't know, but if they really want to make this whole gimmick relevant, she needs to find a way to elevate those titles, defend them more on a basis. I think they could do somewhat better job of informing the fans the way she earns those championships. I know some people will disagree with that statement I just said, but when you get casual fans in there, they're just kind of like, oh, okay. So, if they don't have exposure to where she's getting all these championships and what value they hold and help her
Hmm.
credibility, you pretty much defeat the 11 belt collector gimmick.
And I want to be clear about something. I don't actually hate her. She is talented. She has the potential. I just don't see the work ethic out of her that she should have.
Fair statement. The one thing though I did like kind of at the end of this is Chris Statlander came back in and knocked her flat on her ass. So I was glad at that point she came back and showed her who the world champion is, not
That's a
the
big woman.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's how it should be. You should never jeopardize the force your of the presence of your world champion, and I kind of
I,
felt like that's where they went at first,
I
but
will say I will say that I do want to see the rematch of Chris Statlander versus Mercedes.
now
I
would you
think that I think it'd be gold.
now would you do a title for title on that, or would you just
Ah,
say world championship only?
I would absolutely do title for title.
So unify the TBS championship with the AEW Women's World Championship?
Not so much that, just take away maybe 50% of her titles and hand them over.
And I think a lot of people in the IWC is also looking at the point that she's building up to be losing these championships very soon. And if that's the case, then I
And
hope they I
she
hope they
needs
all
to
put
play
her
that well.
yeah.
If she
So
doesn't play it well, then I'm just done with Mercedes. Like I still have hope for her. Like she was great with NXT. She was good when she went to main roster on WWE, but then something got lost.
right. Well, she wasn't exposed and she wasn't in front of viewers' eyes, and that's a big problem, especially when you're in the world of professional wrestling. So let's go ahead and move on for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Rodito retain over Konosuke Takeshita, who just recently won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and the current AEW Unified Champion, Kazuchika Okada. I did that on the second attempt,
Oh
but
my God, you're getting it right.
no, that's scary. Uh, but I kind of had to say I this was my one surprise prediction. I thought definitely where we could have seen that championship change, and it didn't happen because I know sometimes the surprise element would be the two guys who don't really like each other become the tag team champions, much like Team Hell No or like John Cena and David Otunga. They in WWE, they the likelihood of any two guys who don't like each other winning the tag team championship, especially under the same family, like the Don Callis family, it was interesting, especially the game changer of the match where Okada accidentally hit the Rainmaker on Takeshita, and you could see him smiling. And I love the fact that Tony Schiavone was pointing that out to Don Callis, and Don Callis wasn't really reacting to Schiavone. He's just like, "What the f? What the f?" Um. Anyways, let's get your thoughts on that, William.
This fucking match. Look, they made the right call. I get that you're surprised. I was surprised too. Um, by all rights, Okada, Takeshita, they have it pinned down. But I never expected to actually like the team of Bro Tito. But they're actually working out really well. And to the point, you know what you're going to see with the Don Callis family. They're going to be dominant. It's coming. But having too many titles at once is kind of a bad thing because it kind of puts a bitter taste. You want to see the good and the bad.
Yeah, I think eventually we're going to see someone walk away. I have a gut feeling it's going to more likely be Takeshita, but we just never know. Especially,
Well, Okada's getting older, where Takeshita is younger.
but it'd also be interesting because with the way that it almost was teased, the Bucks maybe making a change to the face.
Oh, the Bucks are going straight face.
You would almost think Okada might be going the same route too, but who knows? So
Oh my god, I could not stand Okada as a face. He does such a good job as a heel.
well, and I have to say I love the fact he was doing the Macarena and then the two birds up. It just he never disappoints in a pay-per-view ever. He's just
He never disappoints, period.
yeah,
He's good.
anytime he's on camera, he definitely makes the viewing much better. I'll say that. All right. And this next one, this is the one that gets me because I don't care what promotion it is. If you're going to put your biggest championship, your top championship on the card for a defense, it should always be the main event. And to me, that's how it should have been, especially showing last night. But the AEW World Championship, Hangman Adam Page defeats Samoa Joe. Adam Hangman Page keeping that championship. However, even though he gave Joe this championship based off the fact that, Joe helped him out and he wanted to reward Joe for that in sportsmanship. You should know Samoa Joe he's going to attack at some point. He's good at that. And just before it happened, I looked at Sarah and I said, "Oh, he is so turning on Hangman after this." Because the minute I saw Shibata and Powerhouse Hobbs come out, I'm like, this is going to be interesting if they're going to go heel with Shibata being in the group. And sure as shit, that big ass clothesline from Joe to Hangman. And then immediately Shibata and Powerhouse Hobbs just attacking on Hangman Adam Page. It shows Joe's not done going after that AEW World Championship. What do you think about this?
So first off, they made the right call. Adam Hangman got kind of the short stick the last time he was world champion. So they're doing right by him. But this matchup could have been better. Honestly, if they were to go one on one in real life, Joe would tear him up. But watching all the other things that are going on, like you mentioned, the heel change with Shibata, just all the elements that they're working on, I think it's going to build up to something better. And I'm honestly really excited to see what happens there.
Same here. Again, it was when we saw Samoa Joe take on MJF the first time for the World Championship, MJF got you know, barely escaped Joe, and then it ended up Samoa Joe getting the second time and becoming the AEW champion. I hope they're not going to go that route with Hangman Adam Page. I'm sure Joe's going to get another title opportunity here shortly, but I think they need to somehow make Hangman still keep that championship a little longer. But
He needs to. They need to validate him.
yeah, I kind of felt like AEW did the wrong thing by having him drop the championship to Punk. And again, I also thought it was a big mistake when AEW signed Punk. So, but
I have no comment.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna try to behave on this. But anyhow, yeah, to further this feud, I think we're gonna see some more stuff, some more good stuff come between Hangman and Samoa Joe. So be sure to tune into Dynamite and see where this feud's gonna head. And we're gonna get into the main event for the night. The I Quit match. Darby Allin finally gets a victory over John Moxley. It took 6 matches to finally get that one victory over him. This was a very brutal match from start to finish. Things that I probably am not going to say on the air here. If you're into violence, this match had it. The only disappointment I have with this entire match is the way it ended. You have Darby Allin taking all sorts of brutal beatings. Same with John Moxley. And then to have it end with just a technical wrestling hold, I get it was a tribute to Sting. But if you're going to go to the extreme measures of what you did during the match, I cannot buy the fact that a technical wrestling move is all it took to get John Moxley to say, I quit. I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate in the DMs with this one, but this is what a lot of the majority of the people are saying, even the people who did the review for the match. Definitely, again, I think the AEW World Championship should have been the main event, and this should have been before the championship match. Will, um, what's your take on this?
So, this is the one time you and I are going to completely agree. Everything you said is completely true. Having it end like that was some crap. What I will call out is I think they're truly building up to Darby being something bigger. And so I really want to see where they go with it. But at the same time, they could have ended this better.
Yeah, and the thing that just drives me nuts is like I love the fact that Darby Allin's raising the AEW flag for freedom and all that, and the celebrating, having Steen come in to help him out, take to fend off the rest of the Death Riders. That was awesome. I just think he should have had something more violent to make Moxley say I quit. And the other thing that drove me nuts about this wasn't your typical I quit match. An I quit match usually involves a referee having a microphone holding it to the wrestler to say I quit, and they didn't do that at all this match. And I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, this match is just way off. And normally AEW does a better job at getting the details right in some of these matches, and this one just seemed a little off.
I would have rather seen the Marty Jannetty ending than what happened there.
Yeah, I just don't get it. But again, maybe somebody will educate me in my DMs. But overall, again, this pay per view I felt got a lot of unfair ratings from some of the critics out there. I think it was a lot better than what most people say. I know you and I will always disagree on the length of the pay per view. I'm not much for any more than trying to hopefully have a pay per view at most, even with the pre show 4 hours, 3 hours
I
for
give
the main.
I give this pay-per-view an A minus.
And I'm right there with you. I thought it was one of their better pay per views of the year. And I think they just did an excellent job. They just for some reason a lot of critics out there was not up for it, but again, I think a lot of it was due to grumpiness because by the time this ended and the media scrum ended, it was like just after 1 a.m. their time. So that's probably why they were a little cranky with it, and that's okay. But overall, if you didn't watch this, I definitely recommend you go get it. Get on the HBO Max app, go buy it. Trust me, you won't be disappointed if you're one of those pro wrestling fans. Um, but William, before we call it good here, you have any final thoughts and shout outs?
There's a lot going on, not just with AEW. There is a lot going on, period, with wrestling, and it's just exciting to see where everything's going. The collaboration of NXT and TNA, just everything.
All right. Do you have anything else to throw out there before I wrap it up?
Just want to say thank you to everybody who listens to us, everybody who supports us. That's pretty much it.
And again, this was pre-recorded earlier today, so if you're trying to do some comments in the live, we're sorry, we're not going to be able to read them. Now that I announce that after we're 52 minutes into the recording here, but want to finish off my shout outs from earlier. I want to make sure we give a shout out to the Wager Wire family: Carol Bucks, Amber Holly, James McMahon, Anna Banana, Adam, Joseph, Lions. All you guys really do a fantastic job with your spaces. I'm hoping to jump back in them this week after being gone for a couple weeks. Also, some of our wrestling friends and partners. Be sure to go check out the Wrestle Collective on the X app. They do many things: Discord, YouTube, also Spaces. They've got a lineup almost every day for something out there. They do great content. Same with the DWE Radio Network, Miami the Great, Final Boss Lady, EVP CJ. Be sure to go check out their stuff. Also, our tag team partner, Brian the Hype Ballard. You can go check out his YouTube channel at Tap Out Talk. Also, go check out our new friend, the Unscripted Violence Media on YouTube. His name is, uh, sorry. I have a little bit of a dry mouth going there. I'm sorry, folks. Be sure to go check out Lee. He is the owner of the Unscripted Violence Media on YouTube. Also, want to give a shout out to our friend Ted, the Hillbilly Hill. He does Ted's Takes on Wrestling. And also check out the Run In Wrestling Pod from Big Mike McCarty. And also a big shout out to our friend Patrick Pucci, who's always taking the time to support and retweet everything we do here in the wrestling world, as well as the Saged Up Network. All right. Hey, after all that, now I finally got everything out. We're going to call it good here. Next week, we are going to get into our top moments from Halloween Havoc, both WCW and WWE. So be sure to tune in. We'll see you all next week. Have a great week of wrestling and peace out, everyone.